All right, I'm going to briefly walk you through how to create a matching exercise. And you're probably thinking to yourself, this is easy, why do I need a video? But it's actually surprisingly challenging to write a really good, clean matching exercise. So I'm just going to show you really quickly how you do it. First of all, consider your objectives. What could you measure with a matching exercise? Now, the majority of people measure kind of basic low-level remember types of objectives, meaning match the term with its definition, match the state with its capital, match the theorist with his or her theory or concept, those kinds of things. It is possible to go higher in Bloom's taxonomy. You could do, for example, which of the following is the best example of each concept and have them match those up. And that would require some analysis and definitely understanding at the very least. So it's possible to measure higher level objectives, but we generally keep these fairly simple as a basic check of students' knowledge. So we're going to go through a couple of things. I'm going to leave a space here for instructions. For every type of question, you have to have your instructions. But first, I'm going to go through actually structuring everything. So I'm going to show you how I go about making a matching exercise for my Ed Psych class, for example. So here I'm going to, I like to format it in a table, makes it a lot cleaner. So I'm going to go to Insert Table and just do a new one that is 2 by, and we'll just do that many for now. All right, and I can go in later and turn off the outlines so I don't have any of those and no borders. But first thing I need to do is actually label the two sides. The side on the left over here is called the premises, and over here the answers are called the responses. Now to label these, I have to think about what I'm having people match. So I'm going to have them match terms or vocabulary with theorists. Okay, so that's how I'm going to have them matched up, and I can kind of resize my columns and stuff as needed. Then I can go back in here and I can write my instructions because now I know what my exercise is going to be on. And a lot of people write their instructions and they say match this with that. Well, how physically does a student go about matching? We actually need to use the word that represents what they're supposed to do. So I'll also have some students say place the letter of the, okay, how does the student place it? Are they supposed to cut it out and then glue it on? So what we really want students to do here is to write. We're going to have them write the letter of the theorist, so this is going to be A, B, C, etc. Okay, write the letter of the theorist, and then we're going to have lines over here, right? Like that. So write the letter of the theorist on the line next to each term with which he is most closely associated. Something like that. Okay, so it needs to be clear, simple, have a verb like write, and you're telling them what it is they're matching, the theorist with the terms. Okay? Then we go about actually putting these in. Now, I see a lot of exercises in which students do something like this, theorists / theories, and they mix them up together. So we would have, for example, Erikson, and we would have psychosocial development. This is what we call a heterogeneous set, meaning we've got mixed elements in here, and that's actually going to give clues to the students. And we really don't want that to happen. This would also, of course, cause a problem because they're the same. So in this case, we're going to stick to theorists. I want you to stick to what we call a homogeneous set or homogeneous set, however you want to say it. All of the things over here in this category are of the same type of set. So I could have Erikson, and I could have Piaget, and I could have Vygotsky, etc. Now, the next thing I want to do, and this is all about the brain, my friends, is to make sure that I've got these answers in some kind of order. So I'm going to make sure, if you see I've got these in alphabetical order, that's going to help the brain to kind of calm down and be able to process the information without panicking about where it's located. I also want to make sure that this entire exercise stays on the same page. All right, so I've got the instructions here, I've got my headings, and then I've got my premises, well, started anyway, and my responses. My responses are alphabetized here, and of course I could go in and add more. There's no set number of elements we need to have in a matching exercise. It's whatever makes sense for the content you've been teaching for that unit. So I could include Kohlberg here, then of course I'd need to re-alphabetize this, right? So I could move those around if I so chose. I'm going to take that out just to simplify things for the video. And then I go in and start putting in my terms or my premises. So again, keep these nice and clean. If you can, also organize these, alphabetize them or whatever. So I could have, for example, in here I could have assimilation. I could have cultural tools. I could have trust. Now, some people would stop here, and we're teaching secondary, so I would advise you not to stop here. If we stop right here and have an equal number of premises and responses, that's going to make it a lot easier for our students to guess the correct answer just with a process of elimination. And we really can't tell then whether our students know the content or don't. So generally, for testing, we recommend that you have an unequal number of premises and responses. So I could include some other elements in here. Let me move trust down since that one's obviously going to come later in the alphabet. And we could have things like formal operations. And then down here I might have zone of proximal development. Okay, so now I've got my unequal number of premises and responses. Both columns are alphabetized, which I love. Headings on both of the columns. Now, I'm not quite done because now I need to change my instructions a little bit. All I've said here is write the letter of the theorist on the line next to each term with which he or she is most closely associated. It does not say how many times I can use each theorist, and that's an important thing to include. So if I were to do just the first three items there, and then say each theorist may only be used once, then students could do the process of elimination. But what I'm going to say here is each theorist may be used once, more than once, or not at all. And I know you hated questions like this as students, but the point of them is that, again, we get to see which students really do know the content and which ones are guessing at this point because they can't just eliminate. So we're telling them you can use each theorist one time, you can use each theorist more than one time, or maybe you won't even use one or more of the theorists. So that really completely eliminates that process of elimination. All right, so I could add a couple of finishing touches, maybe italicize the word instructions there, maybe bold the term or the title of the matching exercise. Let me just double check. I haven't included any elements that are not important. A lot of people will throw in kind of junk stuff in their matching exercises, and we want to use these for important information, for important vocabulary. I've got my clear instructions. The responses are all part of a homogeneous or homogeneous set. I've got an unequal number of premises and responses. I've got nice logical organization. They're both alphabetized. I'm using headings. Everything's on the same page. We should be good to go. That's about how you go about creating a matching exercise. I wish you good luck as you create your own.